So you want to make a boxwood tree? I'm Tina Bemis from BemisFarms Nursery in Spencer, and let's do one. You ordered a kit from us. You got a little bag with a bunch of things in it. Let's find out what's in it. We've got some evergreens, and we've got some boxwood, and a little bit of balsam. We'll stick that off to the side, and then a block of oasis or floral foam, and a design bowl, and we're just going to stick the rest of these goodies off to the side for right now. They're a surprise. So you're going to take your oasis and take it to the sink and soak it until it's all the way filled with water, and stick it in your pot, in your bowl. And I have one pre-soaked here. You can see it's got a nice dark color. You want to, over the course of this season, keep this soaked with water. Just keep putting water in the cup every few days so that it's nice and moist. Although I have to tell you, I had one last year and it lasted until probably April, till I was tired of looking at it, because it will dry out if you don't keep it watered. I kept mine watered probably through, I don't know, January, and then I got tired of watering it. And it just looked great for the rest of the time after that. So, and that was in the house. That's what happens to these things. So they last a long time. People have even told me that they redecorate them for Valentine's Day and Easter. So we'll see how long you want to keep yours, but it's gonna last a long time. All right, you're gonna grab a knife and you're gonna cut 4 corners off. Kind of easier to do them across from each other. And you're aiming for getting down to about the halfway point on the tree, on the what will be the tree, on the block. And these guys are just trash. We'll discard those guys. And this is what you're looking for here, something that looks like this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it makes it a little bit easier to make the tree shape. I'm gonna grab the boxwood to start with, and that's the one with the big wide evergreen leaves. And I'm just gonna pull one of these pieces off. You're gonna start at the tip of the branch and measure about 6 inches, which is usually about the size of your thumb to pinky, and no bigger than thumb to pinky, or even smaller. And oftentimes what I'll do is cut it down right at a place where another piece comes off. So you can have this piece plus the thicker piece that's underneath it, and keep working your way down this stem until you've used it all up. And I want to just show you a trick. I don't know which one I'm gonna show it on. Let me just cut a couple more off of this one. This boxwood is so brittle that you can even do this without a pair of shears. You can just do it with your fingers. I'm going to do that with these because it'll be easier. That piece is no good. You can put that in the trash. But this is a good piece for me to show you. If you get this piece and it's longer than thumb to pinky, and you cut it right here, let me put this down so you can see. You cut it right here. Instead of cutting it smack across, if you just pull this one piece out like that, then you have a second piece that doesn't have any blunt ends at all. And this turns into, instead of one piece, it turns into 2 pieces that you never knew had a blunt end. Because we need pieces that are thumb to pinky, about 6 inches. We need pieces that are about L-sized, or about 4 inches, and we need pieces that are about finger size, that are about 2 inches. So just keep cutting until you've cut up. You can cut all the boxwood up to start with. I like to make a whole bunch on my table before I go, because it's easier than cutting a piece and putting the shears down, and cutting a piece and putting the shears down. You just make a nice pile. All right, so I've got a nice pile to start with. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up one piece. I'm gonna look through these. I don't often look through them, but to start with, I do look through them. and I look for one nice tall skinny piece. I strip off the lower leaves so that it doesn't make a really big hole, because if it makes a really big hole to start with, the twig will wobble, and you don't want the twig to wobble. We're going to stick one of these right in the top. And we're going to take 4 more long pieces, and we're going to come straight out. And I like to say that they go north, south, follow along with me. What's everybody yelling out there in TV land? East and west. 4 pieces like it. So this is the most challenging part. Use your imagination, and you draw an imaginary line from the top of the tree all the way down to the edge of the lower branch. And you've got a nice line here, and that's a nice diagonal line. And when you stay inside that line, you make a nice Christmas tree. When you go outside of that line, you make a beautiful boxwood ball. Nothing wrong with a boxwood ball, but today we're trying to make a tree. So after you have these 5 pieces in, you're going to get 4 more pieces, but really short. And you're going to put those guys in about halfway from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree, probably at the bottom of what I call the ski slopes, and put these guys flat, parallel to the bottom of the table. And you're going to put 4 more in, north, south, east, west, or you can do northwest, southwest, southeast, southwest, whatever that works out. I don't know if I said that right. But 4 more pieces, just like this. You see how I'm still in my Christmas tree shape? These pieces in the middle have to be really, really short. Then, some of you need to work all on the bottom and work your way up, or all on the top and work your way down. I'm not there to tell you which way to do it, but for me as a professional, I like to work on the whole tree at the same time. And I'll pick up a piece and say, gee, that's a short piece. I think I'll stick that guy in the middle to keep going out with my pieces that I need to make short. And if I get a taller piece, I'll put that on the ski slopes, pointing straight up and down. And if it has a curve to it, I like to curve it inwards. That helps it stay tree-shaped as opposed to ball-shaped when it falls out. And I got 4 on the ski slopes here. So I do usually like to do 4 at a time at the same level and then move to a different level. But if your piece that you pick up tells you, gee, that's a small piece, then put it where it belongs. And you just keep following around and around and around. And based on the number of classes this year, I've taught Boxwood Tree for 29 years. I can't believe it. Can't believe when did I get that old, but I did. And based on the number of classes that I've taught, normally if you're having a good old time, maybe having a little sippy sip or chatting with friends while you're doing this, most people take about 45 minutes to green up their tree. But we see, can you see we have a nice little tree shape there? I think we do. You just keep going. Now, the magic of television. I'm gonna put this one on the ground here, and I'm gonna pull this one here that I made yesterday during a workshop. And this is when it's mostly green. This is probably where you're going to be when you get to the end of your boxwood. And maybe not, you could have a lot more boxwood, but I like to add another texture in there. So we're gonna use a little bit of balsam because this is the one that's fragrant, smells like Christmas. When you use a little bit of a different green, the biggest thing that you're going to do now is definitely take short pieces, because I don't want to see the foam. And so, get my shears here, cut lots and lots of pieces. We're talking 2 inches, maximum 4 inches, 2 to 3 inch pieces. And so I got a nice little pile here. Strip off those lower needles, again, so it doesn't make a really big hole, because if you make a big hole, they're not snug. And I like to do a bunch at once. Pinch really hard. Try and imagine somebody that you're mad at. Pinch really hard. They come right off that way. And then just put these guys in. You can tell if you have a really long piece. Let me grab an extra long piece. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit, but then you'll get the point. If you have an extra long piece and you're trying to fill in the holes so that you don't see the foam, that doesn't do it, because that's not, it's putting a lot of greenery out here. You just need teeny tiny little pieces, and you just keep filling them in until you can't see the foam. Now, if there's a couple of pieces, couple of places where you do see the foam when you're all done, but you've used all your patience up, don't worry, because we're going to stick the decorations on. So there's the front. You can see that it's getting filled in. I'm going to put this off to the side. Now, we're going to look, see, pull this off here. Make a nice clean spot. Nice thing about having a dirt floor in the greenhouse is I can just sweep it on the floor and rake it up afterwards. All right, we're going to see what's in our decorations bag this year. This is our dried flower boxwood tree. And so we have some Dusty Miller in here. This one here looks like snowflakes. I love this because it looks like snowflakes. We're going to break teeny tiny little pieces off about an inch or two. And I'm going to cut a bunch just to have them ready. And that's all over there. And then we've got some red German status. I don't like to stick that whole big branch in there. It's just a little klutzy and clumsy. I like to use, doesn't matter how much you use, but to me, I like to make the pieces teeny tiny and use a lot of them. It just looks classier that way. And when you're gonna hot glue these guys on, and just put a little dab of glue on the edge of the element that you're using. Try and wait just a moment, because the glue can burn you. And if you wait just a moment, it cools off and gets a little tacky, and it will attach faster. When it's really, really, really hot, it can fall right off. But if you, because it's not just, you want it like partly hardened. But wait just a little bit, lay it in there, and you can just put all of the decorations in. I'm not going to glue these for the sake of time right now, but they will all be glued in. Of course, you don't have to. Some of these, if you're going to make this arrangement and not move it, and you're in a hurry, you can just put it on your table where it's going and stick the pieces in. But I just go all around, and we've got all different kinds of dried flowers. These guys here are gomphrena or globe flower, and these pretty little dried flowers can just go in. They just look like colored ornaments on a Christmas tree. These were grown in our cut flower field. And we also have wild rose hips. And I like to say about these wild rose hips, caution, real wild rose hips have real wild thorns, so they do have little prickers on them. If it's long enough, feel free to go ahead and use the stem and stick it in there. But if they're too long, cut them down. If they're too short and they're gonna hide, then just glue them on, because you want these to float on the outside of the arrangement. Lastly, we've got some little ornaments here, and those can go on for a little bit of bling bling. That's this year's decorations that we're using. Every year when we do the boxwood trees, we use what's available from our farm and our fields. So what's in your decorations kit this year, who knows, but this is what it's in when I'm taping the video. And you just use them to decorate the tree however you want. That's all there is to it. Merry Christmas.